There we go. Hey, what's up? It's me, Awesome Ali, and welcome back to the Wellness Wisdom Interviews. Today, I am very excited for this one. We're going to be learning about some finances, some financial terms, and also how to turn your yearly income into your monthly income. Today, I have with me Nana Jokura, who is a number one new release international bestseller of her book and also a former naturopath doctor and the creator of the Visionary Entrepreneur Program. Today is going to be an amazing interview, so please help me give our guest a warm welcome. Here she comes. Here he comes.
All
Woo!
right. Nice to be here.
How are you today?
Wonderful. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Like I said, I'm so pumped to have you here with us today.
Fantastic.
Yes, so we're going to get right into it with our very first question, which is who are you and what do you do?
Ooh, this is great. So, my name is Nana Jokura. I am an author. I wrote the best-selling book, Your Healthy Success. And I also have an academy where I coach and mentor people, entrepreneurs, also practitioners who really want to take things to the next level. And they might have been in a place where they were stuck and just not knowing how to do that in a healthy, effective way. So I help them with my programs and we get them moving, going from stuck to moving and making quantum leaps.
Oh, I like that.
Mhm.
I like that the term quantum leap there. We'll probably get into that a little bit later. So, what's your story? How did you get involved in this? How did you become a naturopathic doctor and then move into entrepreneurship? Because if I know if I was a doctor, I would probably be like, my plates would probably be busy, jam packed, 24/7. How
Yeah.
did you have time to start your own business and be an entrepreneur at the same time?
Yeah, you're reminding me of a good friend of mine who asked the very same question, like, "How the heck are you doing this? Like, you're running 2 businesses with your clinical practice and your coaching and consulting, you're raising your daughter, you're looking healthy and great, and you're writing a book. Like, what gives? Like, how are you doing this? What's the magic secret?" Right? And so I'll take you back to a moment where, my mom had sat us down. This is, like, about 20 years ago. She sat us down and she let us know that the cancer had returned. And in that moment, I just felt like, okay, well, that's good because now she has an opportunity to look at her life and shift some patterns that were not serving her. So I asked her, instead of like anything about like the treatments or anything like that, I asked her, "So what's your dream?"
Mm,
Because I knew that if she had something to live for, she would have a much better life, much better quality of life, maybe even much longer life. And so she was like, "Oh, Nana, well, Japanese women aren't asked about their dreams." And I was like, "What is she saying?" So I said, "Well, I'm asking you. So what do you want? What's your dream?" And she let me know that in her heart, she had always dreamed of writing full time. She was doing
mm,
admin jobs, she was raising 3 kids, she was very busy going to treatments. And so she started to come up with all the reasons as to why she couldn't do it, why she couldn't pursue her dream. And I was like, well, I was trying to help her see the light. And we left that conversation for a few months. And she calls me back. She calls me in later and says, "Nana, I did it." And I'm like, "What did he do?" She says, "I did it. I figured out a way to write full time." And so
mm,
ever since that moment, I was so overjoyed for her. I just felt like, oh my gosh, like I so love watching her pursue her dream and asking big questions, right? So I learned that I love helping people live their dream, and I love helping people to shift the patterns that they have that might not be serving them, limiting paradigms, limiting mindsets. Now I have the language to describe what's going on. We'll probably get into that deeper
yeah, we
in
will.
this show, but so that was a really powerful turning point for me. And then because of that, even though I had come from the music world, I really did a 180, and I wanted to help people with their health and well-being. So I became a naturopathic doctor, pursued that dream, opened up a clinic, saw tons of beautiful patients. And then I was personally in a moment where I was sort of like had my back against the wall and really needed to grow my business very quickly, my clinic business very
Mm,
quickly. And that's when I turned into this material that I now teach and take people through. And that's how I was able to turn everything around, including the income, doubled that twice, and then ultimately went from my yearly to my monthly income, which was a dramatic shift, and helped a ton of people, shifted like the confidence and just everything from the inside out. So
mm.
everything shifted. Yeah, so that you got the short version. That's how I got into what I do now. Mhm.
No, that's amazing. So it started with wanting to help your mother. So instead of focusing on your treatment, like I I have a few people in my family who have had cancer, right? And when you
Yeah,
do tend to focus on only the treatment, oh, how'd it
yeah,
go? It was hurt, the chemo hurt,
yeah.
how it
Mhm.
goes. It's painful for them to always be
Yeah,
having to think about that. So
yeah,
ask her that question. Gave, like you said, gave her a reason to continue to move forward instead
yeah.
having to
Mhm.
figure out, oh, the pain, the pain,
Yeah,
only thinking about the pain. No, Nana, guess what? I can write now, and that joy brought you to do a whole 180 in your life,
mhm,
become a doctor, now start your clinic and your business. So that's just truly inspiring. So you did say something very interesting that I liked, which was you turned your yearly income into your monthly income.
mhm.
Give us an explanation. How did you do that?
Well, before I get into the how, like, first of all, that just when I first heard it, I was like, "What?" It just sort of went over my head. So I had to hear the idea a few times before I even considered that that was remotely possible, right? Because
Mm,
it just sounds like that's like 12 times increase in what you're bringing in. So just that alone, right? So if anyone's listening, like let that sink in because it is possible. You're not going to know how, right? Because if you knew how, you would have already done it. So, but just as a starting point, I let the idea sink in,
mm,
and then I started to explore, well, what if it is possible? Instead of, well, what if it doesn't work or this is impossible? Like I just started asking different questions. So I tuned my mindset toward a very different direction. So that's number one. So in terms of how, like, so this is where it gets interesting. People know me to be the money mindset healer, and I talk about money often because it's a topic I love speaking about, but
mm,
it's really not about the money, right? It's actually about service and it's about helping people. Because when you put so much good out into the world, that is the cause, right? We're working with the law of cause and effect. So we've got to put out a tremendous amount of good, and then it has to return back to us. And the effect is the money. The effect is the great relationships. The effect is like great health or the car or the house that you want. That's the effect. But what's the deeper root cause? It's you,
mm.
right? So that's where I started to focus, developing myself, developing my mindset, developing my skill set, and then really putting it into practice.
Interesting, interesting. So I love your answers that you just gave right there. I've asked a similar questions to that in the past, and people would be like, "Yeah, it's about the money, blah blah blah." But you went to the deep root cause, which is it comes down to
Mhm,
you. On our shows, we always talk about service, helping to serve others, right? What you give out, you get back.
mhm,
The more people you can, Ziegler said, the more people you help achieve their dream, the faster you'll achieve yours, right? So,
mhm,
giving out service, then you can deserve that money back in return. So, cause
mhm.
and effect. Let's go a little bit deeper into that. You said you helped develop your mindset. Um, how is changing your mindset from, let's say, a poverty mindset to a rich mindset change your personal life, not just on a financial level, but in your day to day life?
Yeah, I mean, so when we're talking about the idea of prosperity, it can be shown in the form of money and dollars in the bank account. But prosperity, that's a pretty deep concept and principle, right? It's prosperity with your health and your energy, about the experiences that you have. So, day to day, I mean, having prosperous relationships with people, building your network, having great family connection, sharing moments, precious moments with loved ones. That's all prosperity. And for those people who are like, really into maybe spiritual or energetic or health prosperity, but they're like, okay, what about the dollars and what about the financial? Well, we want to make sure we don't have blocks there. I see a lot of people who love to be of service and they volunteer a lot, but there's something about the money part and there's a block. Well, if you're blocked in that area, you're probably blocked in other areas because it's actually an exchange. It's about giving and fully receiving. So
Mm,
if you're not really, it's sort of like a circular coin, right? Like if you have giving on one end, you want to give fully and you also want to graciously receive fully. So if you're blocking up one part of it, let's say you're like, oh, no, 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 I'm not going to receive. I can give all the gifts. Those people who are like, always wanting to be super generous with others. But then when people want to give to them, they're blocking it, right? They're like, no, no,
yeah,
no, or they can't
right.
accept the compliment or so then there's a block with receiving. Or if there's a block on the giving, if you're like always hustling and always bargaining things down and not wanting to pay full fare or anything at all, then you're blocking the giving side of it, and then the receiving gets blocked automatically. So we want to have the channels open, giving and receiving. Giving, we're meant to circulate.
Mm.
Hmm.
Interesting, interesting. So, especially right now, because we are in the Christmas holiday season or
Hmm.
the holidays, right? It's
Yeah.
always tend to be giving and also tend to be receiving.
Hmm.
So, how do you think the cause and effect relationship right now during the Christmas season can
Hmm.
somewhat get tangled up for the rest of the year? Like it kind of gets
Hmm.
derailed a bit.
Yeah, so, like, when people are looking at their credit card statements, maybe
Yeah.
in January, yeah, so that's, so if you overgive from a place that's like, you're doing it because of expectation, you don't really want to, or you're going way beyond your means, um, and you you don't have a vehicle to actually just bump that up. So the beautiful thing about being an entrepreneur is you really get to write your own ticket. You truly, if you're plugged into the material that I share and the principles, you'll learn how to do that for yourself, right? So it's a little bit different from the 9 to 5 employee mentality where you just have this like regular paycheck. It doesn't really go up or down. It's just kind of the same. As an entrepreneur, you can actually write your ticket if you're like, oh, okay, well, I want to ramp up the cash flow. That means I've got to put some good out, right? So you can do that. There's a way that you can do that, and we go into that in the academy, but just know that as a principle. So it is possible for people who are positioned that way to make advanced decisions, to be like, okay, well, I'm putting myself on the hook for this, and I'm the type of person that always pays my credit cards in full or even more, or an extra, right, or early, and you're super financially responsible with that. I have a different idea of what financial responsibility is. It's being honest, it's working ethically, it's paying on time or early, and just being on top of it, paying 100%. Then you're going to build up your credit rating as you are enjoying circulating, but
Mm,
always have a way to know that you're bringing it in. So that's like it's sort of maybe not for beginner level, right?
yeah.
Sort of skipped maybe a few levels, but it is possible. Where people get into trouble is they're like, oh my gosh, they're not really connected with how they're going to be bringing it in, but it's all going out, and you want to avoid credit card debt. Use credit cards. They can be a good tool if you know how to respect it.
Ah, I like that. I
Yeah,
like that. So
yeah.
we're kind of respecting, the credit card limit and understanding how to utilize it for your advantage. Because I definitely know credit
Mhm.
cards can be extremely helpful. There's multiple. I've seen multiple videos,
Yeah.
even on YouTube, where people own
Mhm.
like 25 different credit cards, or and
Mhm.
each of these credit cards serve a certain purpose. All right, this one I use for dinners because this I get the most points, and then they rack it up and they travel and fly around the world because
It's just yeah, I mean, we're not gonna get into the weeds of credit cards, but, like, yeah, just be super responsible with
oh
it,
yeah,
pay it
for
off
sure.
in full, use it as a tool, and if you can do that, then it's good. But that's it's part of like going back to like really knowing yourself, really understanding the mindset, the deeper inner workings. Cause then if you know yourself, if you're the type of person who kind of spends and like without thinking, then keep a check on that. If you're the type of person who's like super stingy and holds on to everything, well, then you might want to bring a bit of balance and see what it feels like to be a bit more generous during this time, right? So there isn't really a one size fits all for everyone because 'cause you've gotta know who you are
Yeah.
in the context, yeah.
I like that. I'm glad that you jumped in there to say that. So, if if you're a person who likes to spend a lot and give others, and one thing that you really mentioned that I loved was that during this season, when you're finding these gifts or you're trying to give, are you doing it because you actually want to, or are you doing it because
Mhm,
you feel there's a pressure to do it as an expectation? I love that you said that because I feel especially right now people have that expectation. Okay, if he's giving me a gift, I got to give a gift too. But I want it to be better, a little bit more expensive. And then instead of having that real spirit of, I thought about you, I wanted to get this for you because I think it would be great for you. We get into that a little bit of a competition mode of, all right, I want to get the best gift,
mm,
or I want to
yeah,
spend the most, show I care the most because I got the most money. So here you go. And we kind of forget the real meaning behind it. I was watching The Grinch and I saw that. I was like, "Whoa, Christmas spirit! Let's bring it back up here." And
mhm,
also, you mentioned entrepreneurship. The one thing I'm so glad that you mentioned is entrepreneurs can control how much they make. You said 9 to 5, nice. It's a line. Maybe it goes up over 25 years, very small. But entrepreneurs starts out little janky, but it then can just hockey stick right up. And you said you write your ticket. So let's hear about your entrepreneurial journey so far. Let's just hear about your entrepreneurial journey. How has it been? What challenges have you had to encounter?
I mean, in any new thing that you do, whether it's in entrepreneurship or any area, if it's new to you, there are going to be challenges, right? There's going to be a lots of wins and moments where it feels easy and you're in flow, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh gosh, I mean, let me think of one. You know, I had a mentor that I was working a business mentor that I was working with, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize I owed $7,000 in taxes that I wasn't planning for." And she was like, "Oh, well, this is great news, like this means that you're earning money, so you get to pay the taxes because if you weren't, then you wouldn't have to pay anything, right? You might even get a
Mm,
refund. So it's good news." So it just like that was a great early lesson for me to learn because it taught me how to shift at the perception, at the mindset level. So I learned really quickly from then to like have a certain allotment for things like taxes and other, I go through the breakdown of like taxes and expenses and all of that in my programs. But that's one thing. And I wouldn't even say it was like a mistake. It was just a bit of a learning curve, right? Um, but I would say on a more of a mindset level of, like, really stretching what you believe is possible.
mm,
Whether it's the idea of turning the annual income into the monthly, starting a business, hitting your first 10K months, doubling or tripling, like whatever it is you wanna be doing, is that, like, we've all been so conditioned to play it small, keep it
yeah.
safe, go in increments. Oh, that's not possible because if you look at who teaches us, it's people who probably played it small, kept it safe, only knew about incremental growth instead of major quantum leaps. So, really starting to pick up on new ideas that you're feeding your mind that are different from what you were conditioned with before, that are different from your current right now mindset because Your mindset of right now is not the mindset that's going to get you to the next level. It just isn't. Otherwise, you'd already be there. So, do you want to be open to mentorship, to different ideas? And when you find a mentor that you resonate with, like you want to lock in and do whatever you can to work with them. And you know, one of the ideas is it's not about the money. Like, what?
Mm,
How can I afford this investment of mentorship? That was one of the biggest decisions, biggest and best decisions I had made, is to get into mentorship before I felt I was ready. Because if I waited until I was ready, I would still be waiting. I would never have done it, you know? So in entrepreneurship, we're constantly doing things, making decisions, going for things before you feel ready. And mentorship is like the first thing you want to get on board, like the first thing. Just because a good mentor is going to be able to help you identify your blind spots, help you believe and see your potential before you even see it and believe it yourself, and really get you on a track and like help reduce a lot of the pain, a lot of the challenge. And it's not going to be that it's like all rainbows and unicorns. There's going to be some of that, but it'll just like fast track you and it'll be smoother. And it's not even like people feel like, oh, well, I want to do it yourself. Well, you are going to be doing it yourself, but you're not meant to do it alone. Right.
mm.
So one of the best entrepreneurial moves that I made was really investing in mentorship from the beginning.
I love that. I love that.
Mhm.
We hear a lot right now with the motivation self-help industry. It is to invest in yourself, and technically you did. You invested in yourself, but
Mhm.
instead of directly through the books and stuff, you invested it in a mentor. Why
Yeah,
should you spend the 25 years of mistakes that they made when they can, show
yeah,
you the mistakes that they made, and you can
yeah,
fast track that 25 years
yeah,
so you make better progress, right? Better, and then you don't have to overcome those same problems. My sister and I personally have had mentors before, and let's say they have been extremely helpful, showing us little insider secrets here and there. And like you said, they're not doing the work for you, they're showing you how to do it, where your mistakes are, but you're still putting in the effort. You still have to show up and say,
mhm,
all right, this is my life, this is the income I'm trying to get. I still have to do it, but they show you the little tips and the insider
yeah,
stuff to get you there a little bit quicker. So I'm so glad to hear
totally,
a mentor.
totally.
Yeah,
Well, I was gonna jump in and say, a lot of, people who have kind of that entrepreneurial desire, maybe they haven't started yet or they're in their earlier stages or even, like, in their middle stages, there's sort of, like, this desire to kind of, like, have take credit and claim for, like, I've created this. Well, you're
yeah,
totally creating it. It's just like, having a guide, someone who is there in your corner who can just call you out on some things that aren't serving you, right? Like to get really real and honest with you from a loving heart. Um, and just to get really real and honest with you is so valuable. Right.
mm,
So, like, when people look at investing with me, and they look at the tuition and they're like, wow, well, really, I know how to show people how to be generating that tuition that they pay over, certain number of months in a single month and more, like if that's what they want to do. So we've got to shift into, like, you hear about return on investment a lot, but
yeah,
what does that really mean? Like the dollars and the attention and energy that you pour into developing yourself, like you want to expect that return on the investment, right? And when you go in with that positive expectation, then that's what you'll get, because you are the most important resource you can invest in your company. And you'll have suppliers and all these other things, but really investing in your mind is where, so I'll give some numbers here, is where over 95% of your results come from.
mm,
Over 95% of your results come from your mindset. So what do people look at? Like, it's shinier and sort of fancier, more glamorous to look at the strategy, which is less than 5%. And it's easy to have these checklists and these strategies and marketing and all that. And it's important, there's a place for it, but we want to get to the mindset first and
Mhm.
then in of like simultaneously with the strategy.
I
Otherwise, it can fall flat. Yeah.
Yes, because we can get so caught up in the systems, the processes, the teams, the environment, but at the end of the day, it still comes down to you. If you're the primary driver of your company, if you're the CEO, right, you have to be that leader, and to be the leader, you got to stay sharp. Every day, we're hitting that tree. You're that axe. You're hitting that tree. Try and chop it down. If you don't keep sharpening it by investing in yourself, investing in your
Mhm.
mindset, reading the new books, talking with a mentor. Why do you think all the top businesses or the top athletes in the world, they all have a coach in their corner, help
Mhm.
guide them to be the best possible self that they can be, and they take that advice, but they put in the work, they invest in themselves, they go to the treatment, right? And that's the same for you as an entrepreneur. We can get caught up in the go 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 hustle 24/7, but you got to take that time, sharpen your axe, read some books, invest in a mentor, and then you can be the best possible you. And it all comes back down to mindset. Like you said, early on in the beginning, Nana's dropping gold here, guys. I hope you are getting it. She said you can have money blocks, and these money blocks will stop you from receiving the money that you from giving, you're serving, you're helping others. And on that way back, if there's a block there, think about this for a second. If you buy someone dinner and they offer you to pay for it next time, are you one of those people who say, no, 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 it's all right, it's all right? Say, yeah, for sure, take it with welcoming arms, because that's just their way of appreciation. If someone gives them a compliment, are you want to go, hey, no, 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 don't worry, you did this better, you did that better, and that's all right. But sometimes it's good to just receive and take it in, and allow people to give you stuff back, and that's your way of practicing small ways of receiving. Nana, would you agree with that? Like those.
Oh, yeah. Just beautiful. I mean, giving isn't just financial, right? It can totally include that, and, uh, receiving and giving it with an open heart, with a heart of gratitude, like, "Thank
Mm,
you for money that you get to pay your phone bill. Thank you, phone company. You get to pay for, your staff, or, you get to pay for whatever, that massage." And then thank you, of course, when the money comes in. So thank you, money in, thank you, money out. It's a wonderful money mentor of mine as well.
yeah.
And yeah, like there's so many ways to, okay, so let's just go back to the giving. So let's say someone does pay you a compliment or wants to give you a gift. And if you were like, oh, no, 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 or I don't want to accept it, well, then you're depriving someone else of the opportunity for them to give to you. So
Mhm.
how selfish is that, right? So, it's really interesting. There's also the idea of, speaking of selfishness, is, yeah, being an entrepreneur, being wealthy and prosperous in all areas of life, like your health, relationships, money, contribution. You want to step into your light and be the best and the most abundant, the most prosperous as you can. And that is you really contributing to others, right? It's not a selfish thing. And people have it kind of backwards. So if you're playing small, well, you're depriving the world of your gifts.
Yes,
If you're
amen.
playing small, you're kind of hiding out and hoping someone else is going to like take care of things, or like when you could really be a contributor and help shape things in the way, in a positive way, and inspires others to do the same. So we really want to step into our light and share our gifts, even if it means undoing a lot of the baggage, releasing old like money blocks that we have, or
Mhm.
if you don't know how to do something, having enough courage to be like, hey, I'm really not good at this thing. So let me learn about it. Oh, I could use some input with this part in my entrepreneurial journey. I could use a mentor. And that's like a really awesome thing to
Yeah.
ask for and receive help. It's huge.
I love that. I love that. Dropping the dead weight. You're trying to go super fast. You can't be having those resistant bands holding you back. You gotta cut the bands and let yourself fly. Let yourself go. And by dropping those blocking those paradigms, those perceptions that are holding you back and blocking you from being your best self, from living, as my mentor would say, your dream life, your perfect dream life that you have envision for yourself. So Nana, you have been absolutely amazing, giving more information and more gold than I think I kind of gotten out of you by asking questions. I'm so glad we had this flow. How can our audience connect with you? How can they get in touch with you? And where can they find your book?
Yeah, so you want to go to Amazon. So wherever, amazon.ca.com, wherever you are, go to Amazon, type in Your Healthy Success, Nana Jokura, Your Healthy Success, Nana Jokura, and buy the book, right? Like it's the fastest, easiest, most affordable ways that you can have access to a part of what I share all in a book. It makes a beautiful gift. Like I had a client buy like 10 copies and just distribute them, right? So
Mhm.
super easy, right? So that's an option. And then you can catch me on social, right? At Nana Jokura. So on Instagram, on Facebook, YouTube channel, LinkedIn. So you can find me all over. And yeah, I mean, if someone's really, really wanting to take the next step, then I have masterclass videos on my website, Nana Jokura, NanaJokura.com. And so you can check out uh, the available programs and courses there. I have one on money mindset makeover. I have a free masterclass on your dreams, 3 keys to achieving your dreams. So you can go through that. And if you are an entrepreneur and really wanting to get to the next level, like if you just feel it, right? Like you're intuitively drawn, you're resonating, and you just feel you're kind of stuck, and you know there's a lot more within you, then watch the videos first, get a little bit more familiar with what I do, and then book a call. You can book a dream setting call with myself or team, and we'll see if one of the programs is a good fit. If it is, then we'll invite you in, and yeah, we'll just like have you take
Yeah.
off from there.
I love that. I love that. So everyone, just to repeat, you can go and grab Nana's uh, number one new release international best-selling book, Your Healthy Success. So if you're wondering, why should I buy this book from Nana? Well, it's number one international bestseller. There's more than one people who would say this is a great book. Also, check out her chapter in the Wellness Wisdom book right here. You can grab that on Amazon too. Follow her on all platforms at Nana Jokura. If you even type in her name in Google, everything will pop up. You got her website, you got her YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Everything is right there. Follow her. As you can see from this interview, she's full of gold, full of wisdom, and
Mhm.
she will be a blessing to have. So, Dana, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I've had an amazing time, and
Mm.
this was presented by Apso. Awesome people shaping our world. Remember, you are awesome and you can make the world a better place. Bye.